So we saw the domain, we saw the codomain. Okay, now try to understand the range of the function with respect to them, right? The first type of functions are into functions. Okay, जैसे कि y is equal to x square consider किया guys हमने, ठीक है? Before plotting the graph मैंने क्या किया? मैंने पूरा x axis draw किया red line से and पूरा y axis draw किया मैंने blue line से. So my domain is all real numbers. Okay, and my codomain also is all real numbers. But if I plot the graph as per the equation y is equal to x square, y will not assume all the values, right? Y पूरे y जो इक्वेशन का वैल्यू है y is equal to x square guys, that won't exist for the entire y axis, right? It won't be actually defined for the negative values, isn't it? Okay, so the range of the function जो कि in this case 0 से infinity तक होगा, this range is a subset or a part of the entire y axis, right? Okay, this particular kind of function is called as an into function, okay, where the range is a proper subset, means a proper part of the codomain. Okay, एक और एग्जांपल लेते हैं गाइस हम लोग इसका, तो y is equal to sin x और y is equal to cos x. Okay, I am taking here for simplicity y is equal to cos x का ग्राफ. Okay, so guys if you observe carefully, okay, x तो कोई वैल्यू लेगा यहाँ पे, ठीक है, the domain. Okay, the codomain I have drawn like the entire y axis, but now as per the property, okay, the graph will take only values from -1 to +1. ये cos की property होती है, cos of any number lies between -1 to 1. Okay, again the value or the range that y takes here for the function is nothing but a part of the entire y axis, right? So this function is called as an into function, right? इसी का ठीक उल्टा गाइस क्या होता है? Okay, suppose you draw the graph, okay, and the graph is assuming the entire y axis, like in the case of this. Okay, जो इक्वेशन मैंने यहाँ पे स्ट्रेट लाइन का ड्रॉ किया है, ax plus by plus c is equal to 0 guys. In this case हमने complete y axis ड्रॉ किया नीचे से लेके ऊपर तक, and now the equation also assumes the entire y axis, right? So the range जो होगा इस particular equation का, okay, is same as the entire y axis or the codomain. Okay, when this happens, the range is equal to codomain. The function is called as an onto function or a surjective function. Okay, एक और example लेते हैं guys. The graph of y is equal to x cube. Okay, before plotting the graph हमने पूरा y axis plot किया है, right? The blue line, and as per the equation y is equal to x square. Okay, the equation is taking all values of y. देखो ऊपर से नीचे extend कर रहा है, right? So it is an onto function, okay, where the range is equal to codomain, right? Now guys, always remember the into or the onto nature of the function is completely depend upon the codomain and the domain specified. Okay, जैसे कि यहाँ पे in the previous case we took the example of into function as y is equal to x square, क्योंकि हमने पूरा axis y axis draw किया था और हमने पूरा x axis भी draw किया था, right? Okay, but if I constrain, if I curtail the x and y axis, okay, if I limit them, okay, and if I just take only the positive part of the graph here, okay, then it basically becomes an onto function. Y is equal to x square. So we can say that y is equal to x square is an onto function, okay, for all positive or other non-negative values of x and y, right? In this case. Okay, so always remember guys, the into or the onto nature of a function is completely depend upon the domain and the codomain you specify. Okay, graph draw करने के पहले जो values हम plot करते हैं x और y axis का या जो भी limits का, okay, that determine what kind of a function you will be getting. Okay guys, we'll talk about the next part. Let f of a to b be such that a is equal to a1 to a5 and b is equal to b1 to b5. Guys, जब भी question ऐसा दिया होता है, always remember, okay, when they are saying f of a to b, okay, in this case a becomes your domain, okay, and b they're specifying is nothing but your codomain. Okay, so there's a function जिसमें a is the domain, okay, and b is the codomain. They're asking you how many functions can be formed. Okay, how many functions can be formed guys? उसके लिए simple condition अपने पास. Okay, if you look at the very first element in the domain, okay, ये domain है अपना और ये codomain है. If you look at the very first element a1 in the domain, it has basically 5 options, right, for correspondence. It can correspond to b1, it can correspond to b2, b3, b4 or b5, right? So for the first particular element I have exactly 5 options. ऐसा हर एक के लिए होगा. For every option which you select for a1, a2 will have further 5 options, a3 will have further 5 options, a4 will have further 5 options, and a5 will have further 5 options. So total number of option कितना हो गया? 5 into 5 into 5 into 5, 5 times. It's nothing but 5 is to 5. Okay, if it is not clear right now, कोई बात नहीं, just wait for permutation combinations last module. Okay, once we complete that, you can just revisit this part और clear हो जाएगा. Okay, same thing now. How many injective functions can be formed? Okay, injective क्या होता है? Remember injection एक आदमी को 1 1 लगता है, so 1 1, yes. Okay, so one element will correspond to exactly one element in the codomain right now. अब guys इसका मतलब क्या है? In this case, A1 will correspond to any of these 5 elements, right? So A1 के लिए अपने पास 5 choices है, right? Okay, but once you book an option for A1, A2 will not have 5, A2 will have only 4 options. Okay, because injective function में क्या होता है? ओके, देयर इज नो रिपीटेशन, ओके, एक वैल्यू ऑफ y अगर ऑक्यूपाई हो गया है, सेम वैल्यू ऑफ y वापस रिपीट नहीं होगा, राइट? सो इफ a1 corresponds to any of these 5 values, a2 again cannot correspond to the same value. Same thing goes on with a3. a3 के लिए अब 3 values होंगे, a4 के लिए I'll have 2 values, a5 के लिए I'll have only 1 value. So multiply them all, the answer is 5 factorial, which is 120, and that is the number of injective functions that can be found.